Hi students, I wanted to go over a couple things. I'm seeing a lot of people having trouble with Figma and I'm worried. So I just figured I would create a couple more videos that maybe will help clarify where I think perhaps you either missed what I was trying to say or maybe it just wasn't clear, and it could be on my end too. So this is just as much my fault as it is anything. But I want to make sure, because I'm committed to making sure that you guys understand what it is that you need to do and some best practices. So I want to go out to Figma and I'm going to start a new file because I just want to talk about how you start. Many people are starting wrong, and I just wanted to make sure that I go over this part 100%. So I got a new file here. I don't want you playing too much with pages. Let's put it this way. I've said it before. Figma is, I'm not the expert in Figma like I am InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects, all of those things I've lived and breathed in for the last 25 years. Figma is only about 5 years old, and I've only been working in Figma for about 3 years. So I do not feel like my level of understanding in Figma is as good as all of the other things. Having said that, I do know enough to be dangerous, and I know how to get the basic stuff done, which is what you guys need to know and what I think I can show you. So I just started this new file. I do not create separate pages. I keep everything in the one page. Let me just go over the basics down here at the bottom. So we've got the arrow, which obviously is direct selection, and the move tool. You've got the frames, you've got rectangle, you've got pen tool, type tool. This is if you're going to go back and forth and comment. And then some actions, a couple other things. I'm always going to be on design for the most part here. But the first thing you want to do when you're doing the desktop site, or what I would do, is you go and click on what looks like a hashtag. It's the frame. So the frame in equivalency to, say, like Illustrator is the artboard. And you know how you can have many artboards in Illustrator? Well, you can have many frames in Figma. So hopefully that helps clear up some discrepancy in what's going on with the sizing and pages. So the first thing you want to do is hit this desktop here over, and that's 14. And just so, let me just go back and do that over again. Frame. The second you put the frame in here, this is going to load in the design. You're going to get different frames. Scroll to the desktop. Go to the one that says desktop 1440 by 1024. That's the start. Okay, so everything in here from this blue edge to this bottom blue edge is going to be shown on your screen and is meant to be where you're going to see, like, this is at 1024 pixels down is where you're going to have the scroll. That's where you're going to scroll down, and that's where any information that's below the scroll you're going to have to scroll down to. So this is the starting point, not the end point of it, the starting. So the beginning part of a website has, and then I went over the anatomy too, but just so you understand, every page needs this, but you need a navigation section. So that's this part right here, and I'm just, for giggles, I'm just going to write navigation. So the navigation goes here. What is navigation? Well, that's how you move through your site. That's giving it functionality. So here is where maybe the title of your site is, maybe the, and then you have, if you have an about section, if you have a get involved section, it's whatever you need it to be. But most of the time you have a logo over here, and then on this side you can have some additional links for the different pages. While I'm starting to build this, I automatically want to call this my home page, and I like to label things as such because it makes it so less confusing when you go to the next phase of this. The next part is you want to go to the hero section, or what I call the hero section. I'm going to color this a little bit differently. Maybe I'll make it a light green color for now. So this section right here is what I would call the hero section or the value proposition. What is that? That means this is the attention grabbing section. So whatever you put in this section is going to get the attention of the user, and it's going to clearly state something about your site, what it does, why they want to stay and scroll further, all that stuff, right? So this is considered the hero section. Sometimes I like to blend my hero section in with the navigation. So I do like a faded feather into it so that it seems like one piece. You can set it up however you want, but as long as you know the different pieces. So that's what I call the hero section. The next phase is from here on down. Hold on, let me make this copy paste. I'm gonna make this one a yellow color. Okay, so now this next section I'm gonna call this content. So this means this could be anything that it needs to be in order to sell what it is you're trying to sell or promote what it is you're trying to promote. So content. Anything you have that you can, content, that's going to help further people wanting to stay on the site, or is going to give them knowledge or something that they need for that site. So there's that. Oftentimes the next part you'll hear people talk about social proof, which means you get accolades, or people say, you know, this worked for me, this was a wonderful experience, blah blah blah. So it could be a social proof, but you don't have to have that. It's just that's something that in the industry you will hear. Social. Oops. And I'm just gonna make this a little bit bigger just so you can see. And then the last part of the site is the footer. And I'm just going to mark that down here, the footer. Footer. Okay. So now that you've got all that's the anatomy of your homepage anyway. Or at least that's the majority of what most homepages are set up as. Of course, there's going to be flexibility, and different topics are going to lend to different things, but that's how you want to set up the homepage, or the start anyway, right? So part of the reason I had you build a sitemap and content planning was so that you would know exactly what you wanted to have on these pages. Furthermore, I had you do a wireframe so that you would even know the layout. So once you start understanding that you have these pieces and that's how they flow together, then you're going to want to build a style tile. And that's basically going to give you all of the instructions for how you want to build your site. So this means you've gone through and you figured out all the colors like I have here, the logo, any artwork, what you're going to do for a headline, a subhead, a body copy, what your buttons might look like, some imagery that you are going to use, what your social icons might look like. So these are all things that are not just let's put this together as aspirational like a mood board. This is set in stone. This is what I'm going to use. So when you are designing something, and so let's just see here, for instance, I have this headline as Proxima Nova Black. I have already put this as a style. So it's right here, header, right? So if I go and I type something else, and I'm just going to put a box here and call it test. And I am going to want to grab some of my copy that I have set up as a header. Then I can simply go over and to the typography section and do and come over to the style where I have it. Although it looks like I didn't set it. I just have the body copy one. Well, let me show you how to set the style. It's a happy accident. I made a mistake, but it's happy. So anyways, so I'm just selected this. It's going to pick up the color, the size, and everything. And I'm going to hit this plus button right here, and I'm going to name it header 1 and create style. Same thing here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do create header. Yes, I am. And I'm going to do this. This one's going to be named subhead. Create style, so that whenever I go and if there's some part of the copy or content that I want to quickly apply, I just have to come over to the typography and go to the header, and it will automatically size it to the size that you have selected. And I think I thought I could do color as well, but I could be wrong on that. That may be just something you do in InDesign, so you'll probably have to place the color, but the colors are automatically in there as well. So that's how you set a style, just to help make you go faster, because once you've identified exactly what colors and what fonts and the content, I swear it just puts itself together. So just to make sure, I'm going to show you, I have all of the from this particular style tile, I have the colors. When you want to insert a new color into the mix, all you have to do is add that color to this page, and you'll have it for use on everything else within your site. So that's just a little bit about using the style tile and setting your type styles, setting the frames like we did here, the architecture or the anatomy of what goes on what page is just follows like this, and navigation, the footer. I've said this over and over till I'm a broken record, but if you set your font size for body copy at 16 pixels, you will not have to do any resizing when you go to the mobile site. That's why Nike.com and several other places, if you go and you look at what they've done on their site, they don't have to resize things multiple times and have multiple styles, because the 16 pixel size for that body copy works perfect. Now, where they may have to do some adjustment is the headers and subheaders for the size of the screen, which makes sense. But that is at least one less thing you have to worry about. As long as you set that to be the same, you set it and forget it. Same thing with your navigation. You shouldn't have fonts being different sizes for home and about and contact. It should all be the same. The footer should be something along the lines of 16 to 14 pixels as well. I'm just going to pull up what I've done here so that you can get an idea of what this looks like. I'm going to hit play and hopefully you see everything. All right, so when I load this page up, you're going to see the site be laid out. So the bee's knees, I got an about page, impact, the buzz, and get involved. Now, I did do a rollover. These were a little bit more difficult than I thought, so if you don't do a rollover, do not worry about it. Just focus on getting your site laid out and getting the site prototyped for both the desktop and the mobile. So anyways, just so you can see, here's how mine laid out. So I've got, obviously, navigation is up here. Then I've got the hero section here. I don't have copy here yet because I'm not creating the site. This is just for me to have something to show you. And then some more content. And then I have a footer. The footer not only ends the site and makes it a good ending point, like you have a beginning navigation and have an ending, that also helps search engine optimization, or called SEO. I'm sure you've heard of some of those terms in marketing class, and if not, you certainly will. SEO is how Google goes out and does its crawl, and it looks for the validity of the links within your site. So the more links you have in your footer section, the higher performing your site is going to be. So with web design, unlike some of the other design that we've done with print, is not just about how good it looks, but how well it performs. So it's form and function. Keep that in mind always. You want it to make it look good, and you can certainly make it look good, but please keep in mind that your ultimate goal is for this site to perform really well. So you want the user experience to be excellent. You want the information to be excellent. You want it to be able to see everything and read everything, and it's sized to multiple different screens. Now, I haven't built this entire site out, but just so you can see, I prototyped it so that you can see the different pages. But like every single page has the header, it also has the footer. So every single page that you build for the desktop and the mobile site should have a header and a footer. When you go over to the mobile site, I'm going to show you some more best practices in order to get that resized and look really good. But I'm just focusing on the desktop right this second. I think I'll create another video that will segment off into the mobile site just to make sure that I have reiterated all of this stuff for you guys. Let me go back to here. So as you can see, this is how I took the elements of the style tile and then I just incorporated them so that every time I placed copy, I knew it was going to be this size. Now this one was reversed white. You know, I changed a few of the things as I went just to jazz things up a little bit. And then you can see how I also kind of made a vertical version for the mobile site. I'm going to talk about that one in a second too. All right, that's, I think, pretty much what I wanted to show you there, with the exception of prototyping. I just want to go over a little bit here about prototyping. Prototyping is not hard. It is not hard, but it can be, and I'm so sorry for the background noise. There's a lot of things going on at my house right now, but just wanted to apologize for that really quick. I don't have any space to be able to do this stuff at this hour. But anyway, if you go to prototyping and you think prototyping is hard, let me help you with that, because it is not. So we're on the design tab right here. I'm going to click right over here to prototype so that I can show you just how easy it is. So whenever you have decided that you want to put your site together and you want all the prototyping done, you simply just have to take the word that you're trying to link to. So for instance, this right here, this about section, you select on the plus and then you drag it to the page you're trying to get to. So as you can see, that about is directed towards the about page. And the same thing goes for all of the other pieces. You can link the stuff in the footer. And my tip to you guys is, once you've done this one time, you can copy and paste it on the other pages and all your prototyping is done. But that is all you're doing. So just to show you what this looks like, so if this is my home right here, and I'm going to make this an about, just for giggles, contact, let's say this is a contact page. And this is going to be a get involved. All right, so here's get involved, contact. Now, obviously, the sections in the middle here are going to be different because you're going to have different content. The only thing that 100% stays the same is the navigation and the footer. So your beginning and your ending always stay the same on every page. Just like in a book. When you think of a book and you have a beginning and an ending, and you have page numbers, and maybe there's a little thing at the bottom that says what the book is. That's one of those things. Okay, so let me just go through this one quick thing. So I am going to type out really quickly up here. I hope really quickly. Okay, so I'm going to do about. I'm going to have that in its own separate thing. So about, then we'll do contact. And then I think the last thing was get involved, right? Get involved. involved. Okay, so say that's my navigation. So I'm going to call this, where it says navigation, that's what I'm going to use as my home button back to the home page. But that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so about. Let's go and prototype about. So the about section, I'm going to have it go to the about page. The contact section, I'm going to have it go to the contact page. And the get involved, I'm going to have it go to the get involved page. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with a trackpad, and you all know how much I love a trackpad. Okay, now you'll see every time you do this, you're going to get this little window that comes up and shows you interaction. So on click, you're going to navigate to, and it's going to tell you the page, and then you get to choose what kind of animation you want. I love Smart Animate. I think it does cool stuff, so that's what I'm going to put it at, and I almost never touch any of the seconds or anything like that. I just leave it alone. It seems to do what I want it to do very easily. So, and then just for giggles, now I don't think you need to have the about titled on the about page or the contact titled on the contact or get involved or home. I only put those on there when I was showing you how to prototype so that you would see what page I was on, not that you really need to label those. And I've seen a lot of people with like, this is the home page, and you don't have to announce it like that. If you look at websites out there, they don't do that. But I'm just doing this really quickly to help illustrate to you how to do this. So, and the only reason I'm trying to do it is to illustrate, not that I would do this. Maybe I would have the title contact on the contact page, and the about, maybe I'd say it more cleverly, I think is probably what I'd say. Why does my G not want to work? Get involved. Okay. So now when I go to prototype, I'm going to switch over to prototype, and all of that is working. Now when I go and play this, you should see that the pages are going to switch from one page to the other. So you're going to be able to see the about page, boom, contact, and get involved. Perfect. So now this is my cheat because I just did it on this one, right? Well, I don't have to do it on every single one going forward. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to get rid of this, the way that I have this here. And I'm just going to paste it onto the next page. So once you've done it one time, you can literally copy and paste it to the other pages and it'll work just fine. Hold on, copy and paste. Okay, so now I told you all I'm out of the trackpad. Okay, so when you prototype, move over to prototype, you can see these are all prototyped, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to do anything again, except for the home button is going to have to be set on all of these. So I'm just going to put the home button, boom, and boom, done. So now the prototyping is completely done. I can go back to designing and making everything look good. So that was pretty quick, right? Just the navigation and the footer. If you focus on creating your 4 pages, getting the content for your pages, laying them out, then your navigation, your footer, and your header you can treat as a copy and paste that you put on every single page on the beginning and the ending. If you do that, then you really only have to prototype one time. And it's done for you. You can do a similar thing with the mobile site, although I'm going to create a new video in just a second, but I felt like this would be too long if I did both of them in one. So, font size for body copy shouldn't be any bigger than 16 pixels. That's right around where it should be. when you start getting into 20 and 22, it starts to look a little too big. So just keep that in mind. With your header font and your subheader font, rule of thumb I always like to do is I like to multiply 1.618, which is the Fibonacci sequence. And that's what I like to do. I like to multiply that times the 16 point pixel size and see what that number is. I think it ends up being 25. And then sometimes I'll double it and it'll be 41. So you run the risk of your fonts looking like a mistake if you're just 1 or 2 pixel sizes up or down from each other. So you want to make sure that you have a big enough difference where it looks like, oh, this is a header, this is a subheader, and this is the body copy. It needs to be identifiable. If you are just a 1 or 2 pixel difference, it's going to look like a mistake or read as a mistake. One other thing I'll talk about too is your flows. So you're going to have in the same file like I have here, I have a desktop flow and a mobile flow. So I'm just going to call this flow desktop because I like to keep things neat and organized. And then this right here, this is going to be the start of another site that I'm going to, or another flow, and I'm going to make that the second flow starting point. So I'm going to call this iPhone. So when I'm previewing this, it's going to show me 2 flows, and I get to pick between desktop and iPhone which one it is that I want to see. So let me just show you what that looks like really quick. So right now I'm on the iPhone version of it. And but I can switch back and forth between the desktop and the iPhone version because I've named the flow and put in the start point. So just so you can see that again, all I had to do was click on that page and then go to where it says flow starting point and hit add, and it would create a starting point. You only need to make a flow starting point for your desktop, the first homepage of your desktop, and the first homepage of the iPhone so that it lays out properly. Another thing I will bring up, because this has happened to me a bunch, if you do not have your illustrations, photos, colors, or whatever on the frame. So for instance, let's look at this really quick. We have the home section right here, and I've got all of these things. Nothing is not in it, so it's worked out perfectly. But sometimes you can think that you've added something to your home page where you've just brought it in, and it's not actually on the home frame. And if it's not, it won't show up. So that's been a frustrating thing for some students. Just want to make sure that if you see things that are not inside a frame, because if you see something that's outside of this frame area, that means it's not going to display when you preview or explore that site. So you want to make sure that you've looked at that too. Okay, so I think that's gone over everything that I really wanted to. Oh, one more thing about sharing. So when you want to share, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. The way that I like getting your Figma files is the way that you guys have been sending it to me. So please feel free to keep sending it to me. But if you get to a point where you want to send this to a client, there are some different things here you can do to make it seem more real. So when you come here and you go to share, this blue button right here, and you hit share, what you can do is copy prototype link and copy and paste that link from here to your client, and that's going to give them this link that looks very nice, and you don't have to do the play button like I have. So it's gonna bring it up the way that you want it to. So all right, that's it for now. I hope that helps.